Hi
Hello,
everyone.
guys. Welcome back to the Consistency Code podcast. Today we're going to be diving into the truth about cardio. How much do you actually need? This has to be one of the most frequently asked questions I ever receive. How much
Mhm.
cardio are you doing? How much cardio should I do?
Yeah.
And guys, it is not a straightforward answer. It's not a one size
Mhm.
fits all approach. Just because I'm not doing any cardio or just because I'm doing an hour of cardio or anywhere in between does not mean that that is also going to be the amount of cardio that you should be doing.
100%. And cardio, when you see lean too, it's first thing is cardio. Like nobody thinks about like lifting first or like little amount of cardio. Lean is always a shit ton of cardio. And it's always a frequently asked question in prep, I feel like.
Yeah.
And like if I had to tell you like, hey girl, like I do 2 hours, good luck, you would not like that answer, I feel like. So yeah, this one's a really good topic and I feel like me and Bella come from both different ends of like the cardio regime, I would say. So
hmm
yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would say we've both been in prep in situations where we've been doing upwards of an hour of cardio a day. Also, like little to no cardio a day. Like we've had our fair share of being like on all ends of the spectrum. Okay, so a quick opener question just to set the tone here. How much cardio are you doing right now?
Right now I'm doing 400 calories of cardio. So that's like 50, 55 minutes, I would say, on the stairs.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, 400 calories, I would say that takes, yeah, around like 45, 50 minutes. And you are in to preface that, you
Hmm.
are in a mini cut. You're doing a mini cut.
Yes. So I promise, I don't know, because I'm only doing it right now 5 days a week. So if it was in a prep, I feel like it would be like a little bit of a different discussion, like depending on where I am. Because right now, like where I am, and let's say like I was in prep, I would probably be doing a lot more if I was closer to show because like I'm nowhere need to like near to prep lean. But like with the cleanup that we want, this is like I think the perfect amount for me. And that's why it's so different, right?
hmm Yeah, and I would say like 40 minutes, 45 minutes sounds like a lot to like the average person, but guys, it really does like take that much time to burn enough calories to actually like give yourself any momentum and like yeah,
Yeah.
extra drive like towards fat loss. Like you have to really push your body in order for cardio to be an effective tool. Like hopping on the stairs for 10 minutes, like sure, it's like good for cardiovascular health, but like it's not really going to do anything in terms of like
That's 50 calories.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
on that note, it just like goes to show how easy it is to eat 400 calories, yet so hard to burn 400 calories. And then on the flip side, it's a lot easier to eat 400 calories less than to go burn 400 calories as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that being said, so Ruth is doing 400 calories right now. I have not done a single minute of cardio in probably a month now.
Yeah. But tell them why that is though.
So I am currently in a health phase. I am, like I've talked about on this podcast before, I am trying to regain my cycle. I am trying to get my sex hormones back up to a healthy level because they are still pretty tanked on the low end. Since I was like so lean for so long last year, it's just kind of inevitable. I'm also fighting the after effects of being on the birth control pill for a long time, which is another topic I can dive into at some point if y'all are interested about hearing more about that. But yeah, I'm currently in a health phase, and so I'm trying to keep cortisol and stressors as low as possible. And I also was sick a couple weeks, quite sick a couple weeks ago. I was on my feet a lot more than I usually am over the Calgary Stampede, like first couple weeks of July. So I actually lost some weight unintentionally. And so, yeah, now I just do not have any reason to be doing cardio. I'm not trying to burn more calories. If anything, I'm trying to gain weight right now.
Yeah.
And cardio is the first thing to drive cortisol up in the body, which is why a lot of people, like when they default to cardio, they find the scale does not move. They feel stuck. They
Mhm.
feel like they're not making any progress, even though they're running every single day or doing an hour of cardio every single day. It's because you have driven cortisol so high in your body that your body is now so stressed out that it's not going to lose weight. So, cardio truly is a tool. There's a time and a place for it. You should, only be doing a ton of cardio under direct guidance from a coach. And yeah, use it as a tool. Make sure that it's actually benefiting you, because more often than not, it's going to do more harm than good. So yeah, I'm not doing any cardio right now because there's solely no purpose for me. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to get lean, and I want to keep stress as low as possible. So still doing my 10K steps every day because those are really low intensity and helps in my digestion and gut motility. But otherwise, I do not need to be doing cardio. So yeah, Ruth and I are just in different phases right now,
Mhm.
but goes to show that cardio is not a one size fits all approach.
Exactly, exactly. And obviously, like the phases of hormones and health, you want to be on the side of not overworking your body because there's obviously like, we all want to look our best and feel our best. But let's say like Bella was at a point where she just was not comfortable in her body and she wanted to lose a few more pounds in a cleanup phase, but her hormones were just not agreeing just yet. That doesn't mean that she should go against her body and her health and then do cardio and do this and go into a deficit to drop the weight back so she can feel at 110%, because who knows if you'll actually feel good at the end of that. You need to address the hormonal and the health issues first before adding 10, 20, 40 of cardio, because your body is just not at the stage where it can accept that too. Because I think if she went and did that, it would harm you more than benefit you, let's say, you know?
Exactly, exactly. Also will drive a lot of inflammation
Hmm.
up internally and externally. So if you are doing too much cardio, then oftentimes you'll feel a little bit like puffier. You'll feel like you're holding more water. You just won't really be looking your best. And
Hmm.
then internally, like recover, it's going to take a hit on recovery. So you're going to be probably feeling more sore from your workouts. You're not going to be recovering as well from your workouts. It's
Hmm.
going to drive hunger up, obviously, because you're burning more calories. And then that's often when we see people going into this cycle of doing so much cardio that then they become hungrier. And then their hunger is so high to the point where they end up overeating. And then you're just in this endless cycle of overeating, more cardio, overeating, more cardio.
Back and forth.
So yeah, it really is not the magic fat loss solution. So that brings us into our first segment here. Does cardio actually burn fat? And the basic truth, the science is, yes, cardio obviously does burn calories, and a calorie deficit is what drives fat loss. So that's why I was saying cardio is a tool to increase your calorie expenditure, but it is not the mechanism of fat loss itself. It's not like you're actually burning fat while you're on the Stairmaster or the treadmill or the elliptical or on a run or whatever it is. It's just going to simply increase the amount of calories that you are burning in a day. So it makes that window of your calorie burn that much higher. So yes, it can be a tool, but it is not going to directly drive fat loss itself.
Exactly. And that's where it brings us to like also understanding that some people will use like where some research has people who are way overweight than let's say like us or bodybuilders, and just using cardio as a method of weight loss did not show that big of a change. Yes, there was some weight that was lost, but not as much as if a fat loss phase with nutrition and all that was implemented, because it's just one way, right? You will see people who will actually lose more weight off just diet changes and no cardio. So, cardio is a tool that will further, but realistically, if your nutrition was at 110%, you would realistically drop the weight. Then at what stage you're adding in cardio is the actual like question here. And also cardio is just always important to have for your like cardiovascular health, obviously. But if we're gonna deep dive into everything science wise, cardio is literally just a tool, not an end all be all.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, it can do more harm than good as well because, yeah, research has also shown that the more calories you burn through cardio, the more that your body tries to save energy and burn fewer calories throughout the rest of the day to protect your fat stores. So if you did, say, 500 calories of cardio every single day without making any changes to your diet or nutrition, because of those compensations that your body's making, you'd probably only end up losing about a fifth to half of what you would
Mhm.
actually expect from that extra cardio. So even though, say, you're burning 500 calories of 500 calories during your cardio session, that doesn't mean that that's like directly correlating to an extra 500 calories that your body's burning throughout the day, because it is going to try to compensate with the calories that you would ordinarily be burning at rest throughout the day. Your body's going to get better and better at conserving energy when you continue to drive up that calorie expenditure.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you're doing more cardio doesn't actually mean that it's positively impacting you.
Have you ever explained to people, like when people ask me about cardio and like what I do, I always stress the fact that how much are you walking? What
Hmm.
are your steps like at? Because people underestimate steps so much because the obviously like when you're sweating a shit ton from the stairs or running like whatever or a HIIT workout, people think that's better and more beneficial than walking. Getting 10,000 steps a day will be your best friend with a good nutrition plan. Always, always. And also, if you're walking, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5,000, and you push that up to 10, that is a shock for your body. And you will see changes, but people push walking aside so much and like want to just hop on the stairs, like whatever. But you have to weigh out your options here, and the most intense shit is not always gonna be the best for you.
Walking is so underrated, probably the most underrated fat loss tool out there. And like Rutha just said, just because you're sweating does not mean that that's benefiting your fat loss. Sweating more is not always a good thing. Like even during our strength training sessions, like I don't know about you, but I don't normally sweat that much unless it's like
Mhm.
freaking hot as shit in the gym. Like typically I don't really sweat that much. Because you're sweating a ton during cardio does not mean that that's working better than going for a hour long walk.
Yeah.
Like seriously, walking is one of the most underrated fat loss tools because it's going to directly increase your NEAT. NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And basically that just means the calories. It refers to the calories that you're burning through activities, movements that you're doing throughout the day that are non-exercise related. So say just like walking around your house, like cooking dinner, like even like brushing your teeth, showering, things like all of these things that you do every single day that are non-exercise related but still burning calories. So yeah, increasing your daily steps from like 5 to 10K can actually burn more fat than doing 20 minutes of intense cardio, and it's going to be way less stressful on the body. It's not going to impede your recovery the same way doing 20 minutes of intense cardio would. And yeah, I would say like the biggest tip I have for most of my clients, actually, whenever my clients first start with me, 99% of the time, I am not giving them direct cardio. I am prescribing them 10,000 steps a day, and then we will add in cardio as a tool down the road if and when we need it. But typically, we just start off with steps because that is going to be a much bigger driver of fat loss and something that's a lot more sustainable as well than diving into 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes of intense cardio.
Yeah, and I love an easy way out. If I could just get away with 10,000, girl, I'm sticking to it. So if it works for
Yeah.
you, trust me, like avoid the excessive sweating from like running and burning yourself to the ground just to feel like, because the sweat is like also a placebo for some people. Like they'll see sweat and say, I worked so hard. Like whatever, and then they'll go and eat whatever they want because they just,
Oh yeah. I just went for a run or like I did like a
yeah,
hot yoga class. Like I just sweat so much. So like now I'm gonna
that's
go. Now I
don't get me
deserve.
started.
Now I earn my food,
The
and
hot classes.
that is a mindset. That mindset is holding you back in and of itself.
And also, if you're in a hot class, I feel like you're gonna sweat if the heat is like you're in an oven, babe.
Exactly, exactly. Think
I
about stepping outside in the climate. You just sweat instantly. It doesn't mean that doesn't
yeah
mean that you're burning a ton of calories. But yeah, the bottom line here is that like nutrition at the end of the day is 99% of the fat loss equation. Like nutrition is the biggest driver of fat loss, and cardio is going to be a tool to assist that, but they're not interchangeable.
exactly. Yeah.
And I even noticed that, like I mentioned, being busier with the Calgary Stampede a couple weeks ago, I lost weight just by increasing my NEAT alone, just because I was on my feet all day. I was getting probably like 6 to 8,000 more steps a day than normal. I was like almost
She
at
came back
20,000
healed.
steps every day.
She came back healed, y'all. Yeah.
I was under eating a little bit just because I was like so much busier than I normally am. And yeah, Those factors in and of itself meant that the scale dropped like 4 or 5 pounds unintentionally.
Exactly. So
So
there's
yeah, when people ask me like, is cardio like absolutely necessary for fat loss, I will say no. You can definitely achieve your fat loss goals without cardio. I will even tell people who like have injuries or unable to like work out or whatever, you can still make a ton of progress without working out just by dialing in your nutrition.
mhm. There's a lot of
And
things that play at hand.
yeah, you can go do as much cardio as you want. If your nutrition is not dialed in, you are gonna stay stuck in the exact same place, if not regress actually.
Exactly. That's a big thing too. Regressing is a thing and people do end up forgetting about it. But yeah, we have here for our number two, the thing that you guys came here for. How much cardio do you actually need?
The
And
question of all time.
there's a bigger answer than just it depends. It depends on this. There is a way more complex answer.
The common like health guidelines, like
Mhm.
if you look at what's recommended for the average adult, it's going to be anywhere between 150 to 300 minutes per week of moderate intensity cardio or 75 to 150 minutes, so just under 2 hours per week of high intensity cardio. Now, that is honestly not a lot at all. Like 2 hours a week of cardio, that is only 4 30-minute sessions. Like we discussed at the start of this episode, that's not a lot. Ruth is doing 40 minutes a day right now. So that is more so just the general recommendation for a healthy body, right? For the average person. Now, if typically you don't do any cardio, you work a desk job, you're sitting all day every day, is adding 20 minutes of cardio every single day going to elicit a change and an effect on your body? Yeah, probably, because you're so sensitive to that extra movement because you are very sedentary. If you are somebody who works more of an active job, then is 20 minutes of cardio going to have that same effect on you? Probably not, because your body's a little more conditioned. So it truly does depend on the person, and that's why it's important not just to follow general recommendations that you see online, right? And here's the nuance for muscle focused athletes as well. Strength and size gains, like the benefits of strength training, muscle growth does reduce as cardio increases. So that's why as bodybuilders, we also have to play this fine line of when we're in prep, like atrophying muscle while cardio increases. Like that is always a worry for us, and a
Mhm.
concern is losing muscle while in prep because cardio is going to kill muscle. There's a reason that professional runners have very little muscle mass on them
Yeah. Yeah.
because it is incredibly hard to build muscle and sustain muscle while also doing an insane amount of cardio. So that is something else always to keep in mind as well. Now, that's why it's so important to keep your strength training intensity as high as possible as well to hold on to the muscle. But I would say probably like the sweet spot of cardio for most women who lift, my recommendation is 3 to 4 sessions of like 30 to 45 minutes, low intensity, steady state cardio. So, not balls to the walls cardio, just low intensity where your heart rate's around 135 to 140 BPM, combined with like 8 to 10K, maybe 12K steps daily. That is typically a pretty sweet spot to support fat loss without compromising muscle growth or recovery.
Exactly. I have to agree with the amount of sessions there and the time. I think 90 minutes a week is perfect just because that's three 30-minute sessions and you can break them up too if you want, like whatever. But having a certain amount on top of your daily steps and not replacing it is a thing. Like if you do go on the treadmill, still just make it an addition to your actual daily movement rather than like compensating for it. But what Bella said with the overdoing it on cardio and trying to gain muscle, like that's such a problematic thing, obviously, because we obviously like a lot of us do want to keep growing. Obviously, like people's goals are different, but this is what like hot take. Don't cancel me, okay? When bodybuilders come on and they're like, you know what, like I have big goals, dreams, I want to become a pro, like whatever, cool. And then we see them in an Ironman. We see them doing marathon after marathon. There's like
Rocks.
high rocks. There's like a lot of things. Like high rocks might be like the better one, but still like overdoing it where there's nothing wrong with it, okay? But we have to look at the scientific side of it. If you run a specific amount of miles a week, your body goes into a stage where you actually cannot progress in muscle growth, okay? Because there's so many things going on, and when you surpass a certain threshold, you are not growing. That's why certain runners, triathlon athletes have very minimal muscle mass because they could not progress in that sense. It's a very
The two don't go hand in hand,
contradicting.
right? If you have
Contradicting.
endurance-based goals
Yes.
like running, cycling, swimming, it is very hard also to progress in your strength training goals because strength training, to recover from strength training and to progress muscle growth wise, you need to really, really focus on recovery, right? Like recovery, like you build muscle in your sleep. You build muscle when you're recovering. If you are focused on these endurance-based goals as well, running a ton, swimming a ton, biking a ton, that is going to impede your recovery. So it's just
Mhm.
very hard to do both. So yeah, that's why it's so important not to overdo your cardio. But
Definitely.
one thing I will say as well, just for all of y'all listening that are not bodybuilders, but you see obviously us bikini girls like in stage lean condition, just to be so upfront with you, most of us female, and I will say probably male competitors too, in the final stretch of our contest preps, in order to avoid literally dropping calories like sub 500, which like is just like obviously impossible, we have to crank cardio up. In order to hit stage lean conditioning, we have to push cardio higher to avoid dropping our calories too low. Because
Mhm.
mind you, our calories are already pretty low. Like, hovering around that 1,000 mark is like not uncommon. And so in order to avoid dropping calories even lower than that, we do have to increase cardio pretty high in order to achieve that conditioning. Not for everyone, not for everyone, but for a lot of us, we will get to a point in prep where we are doing an hour and a half to 2 hours of cardio a day, in addition to 10,000, 15,000 steps a day. We're not including the steps that we acquire during our cardio sessions in that step count, by the way. So it is 10 to 15,000 steps, if not more than that, on top of 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours of cardio a day, while only eating sometimes 1,000 calories. It is actually absurd to say out loud, but this is just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes in prep, again, not for everyone, maybe not for a long period of time. For me, I've been lucky enough to only have extreme protocols like that for like 3 to 4 days. But I know Rufa's preps have been very different. Lots of my friends have had extreme preps much worse than that. So it really is person dependent. But again, just to put it into perspective, when you see us that lean with like crazy ab veins, crazy conditioning, striations, feathering to our muscle, that is not just like
Accidental.
20 minutes of cardio.
No, there's yeah, it's very person dependent, but like, like we have a lot of people obviously also like selling the dream of like, hey, you can do your prep and get this peeled and shredded, like their quads are separated, okay? And they're like, I just did 30 of cardio and my food was the lowest was 1900. Some of you guys are lying. Some of you guys are lying, and I have to point it out because there are people who do actually do bare minimum cardio all prep, but that's just because of what they've built and how they treat their off season and also genetically. There's a lot of factors. Then there's also people who have to dig through hell to get to conditioning, like proper stage conditioning. So that's why like I prefer people not share their protocols rather than like lie and sell the dream of like 20 minutes, 3 times a week, and you'll be peeled as fuck.
Yeah. I try to be as open as I can, like throughout my preps with my protocols, just so I'm not like misleading people. But at the same time, like I share my protocols on the edge of caution because I don't
Exactly.
want people copying my protocols thinking that like if they suddenly start doing what I'm doing, which is like pretty extreme, then they're gonna look like me because that's also not the reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's smart because you always have to like also know like
don't
who's
be
your
copying
audience.
your favorite influencers
Yeah.
protocols because there are so many factors that goes into like building the physique that they have, and yeah, you're not just gonna like start following their protocols and wake up looking like
Exactly.
that.
I stopped sharing my protocols fully at 5 weeks out because I was like, this will kill you. That I'm not sharing this. Like this was a little bit rough. But yeah,
Yeah, Yeah. And it's like, it's kind of embarrassing sometimes. I'm like, I don't want people to know what I'm doing
Yeah,
right
I don't
now.
want people to know I'm dying. Like, it's okay, like starving
Mhm.
and dying and sweating. Like, I don't want you to know. But it has to be like a light work kind of mentality over here. But yeah, my favorite topic here for you, HIIT versus LISS. High
Yeah.
intensity,
Versus low intensity.
low
And
intensity.
it seems to, oh my gosh, nothing, honestly, nothing like grinds my gears more than when people come to me and they're like, yeah, I'm doing like HIIT workouts every single day. Before I have been there doing my HIIT workouts in
Yeah,
my living room every single day. You know, the burpees, the bear crawls, like the jumping
everything,
jacks.
girl. We got it all. Yeah,
Yeah, that's some messed up. That's some messed up stuff. Guys, HIIT cardio like rarely, honestly, rarely has a time and a
it's
place.
a
Like,
propaganda.
yeah,
It's
truly.
like I'm good. Steady state cardio is where we have all benefited best from, as in like, we'll have zone 2 cardio where okay, maybe some people don't know what zone 2 is. Zone 2 cardio is where the easiest way to like dumb it down that I got it the first time was it's still hard enough where you feel like you're working, but you can still keep a conversation and hold on to that pace, not a conversation, but you can still talk and keep that same momentum for an hour, let's say. That's what I would say zone 2 feels like.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
most women, I would say that's around like the 135, 140 BPM heart
Yeah.
rate beats per minute
Hmm.
mark. So if you are
Yeah.
tracking your heart rate, like with your Apple Watch, if like you're recording your workout or whatever smartwatch, look
Hmm.
for that around 135 BPM mark. That's typically the zone 2. But yeah, the bottom line with HIIT cardio is it is a significant cortisol stressor. And like we already mentioned earlier in this episode,
It's awful.
that when your stress gets so high, your body is going to stop prioritizing fat loss. So when you're already in a calorie deficit, your sleep is already taking a hit. You're training 4 to 5, maybe even 6 times a week. Adding multiple HIIT cardio sessions on top
Hmm.
of that is only going to stack cortisol on top of cortisol on top of cortisol. So in the context of context prep, where the body's already under significant stress from caloric restriction, low intensity steady state cardio, LISS, is more than often the superior choice only because it creates a calorie burn without that added cortisol and recovery costs of the high intensity work. If you're
Yeah.
doing HIIT on the stairs or on the treadmill, that is going to be incredibly hard to recover from. That's also going to tap into your muscle, which obviously we don't want in a contest prep. The goal is to maintain your muscle, if not grow into a show. So I would say HIIT, it can be a great tool if you're in a maintenance phase, if you're well recovered, you're not like in any kind of like dieting phase where you're under like heavy physiological stress already. But if your goal is to lean out, if you're in a cut or even during a period of like high life stress, which is also so important to consider, like do not ignore your just general life stress. LISS or just walking, like we talked about, is almost always the better call.
Yeah. 100%. And I'm so sorry. I think people who do HIIT is just again, when I say propaganda, it's been sold to us since like COVID times. Like girl, I was Chloe Ting. Please tell me that you know who that is. Thank
Oh, I
you.
know.
I
We
was
will never
in that
forget everything.
I was disrupting my family's living room, okay? Talking about some crunches, burpees, like you said, jumping jacks, the knee taps. You know what the knee taps?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. When the gyms were closed, that was what I was doing too. And this was like my
Yeah.
pre-bodybuilding
Hmm.
era.
Like it's not cute and it's not
No.
it's not fun, but I
And
think
this is
people
why group training classes are also not ideal for your muscle
yeah,
growth goals or your fat loss goals. Because if you, oh my God, if you are trying to combine the two, like that is just a recipe for
disaster.
high cortisol and lack of fat loss, to be honest.
Disaster.
You are not going to be gaining muscle by going to these group classes where you're combining a squat with a shoulder press and doing that as many times as you can in 30 seconds and then
Yeah.
taking a break for 30 seconds and then doing it again.
Me and Bella are actually gonna make it a plan. I'm gonna go see her soon, guys. Please, fingers crossed. And we're gonna go take a Zumba class together. Watch.
Oh, are we? This is news to me.
100% we're gonna do it.
Orange
And
Theory?
Or theory. Oh yeah, me and we're gonna film it and we're gonna give you guys a live rating because I think it's such a there's coaches who do prescribe HIIT to their clients a certain times a week, okay? And the only time I would respect HIIT being added to your plan is like first of all, not on a rest day. If your coach has you doing HIIT on a rest day, that is now officially not a rest day, but instead a stressor, especially if you're in prep, okay? But if they're adding a few hit things during a certain like day, like a leg day, and it's not like a super high intensity leg day, and at the end do like this and this, and it's just like a combo. Okay, I can understand that, okay? But when your coach is suggesting hit exercises, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It's complete BS. Do not do it. Do not do it. And tell them like, hey, I did my research. I don't think I should be doing
There's
this.
much, much, much more effective protocols,
It's
things
not.
you can be doing.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of different things, girl.
yeah.
Trust me. And
Because
you do not want to be at a position where you're at the gym doing ball throws to the wall, running back and forth,
oh
grabbing it,
my
and doing the
God,
push-up.
no. Yeah, like the bottom line is that high cortisol from excessive cardio, like HIIT, is a real problem for women trying to lose fat because dieting itself is already a stress on the body. Most women are already under eating, avoiding carbs, and adding excessive cardio is only going to compound that. So when you're already chronically stressed, you burn fewer calories, right? And you're more likely to store belly fat. Everyone talks about this cortisol weight.
Hmm.
Too much cardio also puts you at risk for muscle loss on top of fat loss, especially when combined with the caloric deficit. So at that point, you're going to end up looking skinny fat. And then you're overtraining yourself without sufficient recovery. So that's impairing your training performance, increasing cortisol levels. And that combination is literally actively hindering your fat loss and your muscle retention. So the belief that like more is better, the more cardio I do, the better I'm going to look, the more progress I'm going to make, is probably one of the biggest misconceptions and mistakes that people make. Like,
100%.
bottom line.
And have you ever seen where like I had this happen when I was doing an excessive amount of cardio when I was just like not feeling good and I saw there was some hit involved, whatever. I literally couldn't stop being bloated, actually. I
Oh,
couldn't stop being bloated and not even like puffy. I want to say just like my gut was suffering and I was chronically bloated. Like
because the
anytime.
body, the mind, and the gut are all intercorrelated, right? So if your body is stressed out, then your digestion is going to take a hit because the two are correlated. If you're mentally stressed due to life stress, financial, relationship, whatever it is, that is also going to affect your digestion. It's going to affect your physical recovery. The three are also connected. So, yeah, if you're stressed out, that's going to impact your digestion. You're going to end up looking bloated. And yeah, you also are going to be puffy. You're going to be inflamed. Your body's going to be holding on to this extra water retention because it's so stressed out.
Exactly. So.
And whenever you notice that the scale stops dropping and you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you've plateaued, I can guarantee you if you drop your cardio for a couple days, deplete yourself of cardio, that scale will drop because as soon as that inflammation comes down, then that's when we're going to see the scale drop. And I even took over, or didn't take over, but I was working with a client who was in prep for bikini, and she came to me. She was doing, I think, 90 minutes of cardio a day. It was like 45 minutes of HIIT and then 45 minutes of just LISS. And she was having an incredibly hard time leaning out. She just felt like she was holding a lot of water. The scale wasn't moving, even though her food was already like pretty low. And I was like, okay, we are going to cut all of your cardio right now. We're just going to do 10,000 steps for
Mhm.
the next 3 days. And she dropped like 4 pounds right away.
There you go.
Yeah, and she's like 5'2", so like 4 pounds on
That's
somebody
a
that
lot.
size is a lot. Yeah,
You
so
gotta
oftentimes less is more.
chuck out the hit plan. Throw it out. Throw it
Throw
out.
her in the garbage. Throw her in
Yeah.
the garbage. Yeah, and then another issue that I see all the time is the adaptation problem. And this
Mhm.
happens to everyone. It's inevitable. Just like your body adapts to certain caloric food intakes, your body adapts to cardio. So, say you were doing a 45-minute cardio session on week 1 and you burned 400 calories in that 45-minute session. By week 6, your body is going to be conditioned to that cardio, right? It's going to become better at conserving energy during that cardio session. So it's going to take longer for you to burn that same amount of calories, which becomes frustrating, especially when we're in prep and we're like, oh my God, like this 500 calorie session took me an hour at the start and now it's taking me like an hour and 20 because your body becomes that much better at conserving energy and it becomes harder to burn that same amount of calories. But yeah, that's also just your reminder that just because maybe 30 minutes of cardio was making a difference for you 6 months ago, it's probably not going to have that same effect now.
Exactly. Adaptation. Adaptation. And same goes for like machines too. You might literally, quite literally grow out of a machine because you can't get the same
Yeah.
amount of,
Yeah.
like, you can't get your heart rate high enough, like whatever the
Yeah.
case might be, or the intensity is not
That's
enough.
why it's important to take cardio breaks too. If you've been doing 30 minutes of cardio every single day for the past year, girl,
You
take a
think I should
break,
take a break?
reset, let your body reset.
You think I should take a break? Thank you. I'll take a break.
We also have the mental and hormonal costs of cardio. So the mental and hormonal costs of cardio also very, very important for my ladies listening to this. Like I said, I am not doing any cardio right now because I am in a health phase trying to prioritize my hormones. So if you're doing cardio every single day, that is going to play a negative effect on your hormones. Maybe like lower cardio, like okay, perfectly fine. But once we start really stressing out the body, then that is going to negatively affect our hormones. And not to mention the psychological toll of extreme cardio. Like, there's a reason that deep in prep, like, our brains are not functioning like normal. We are not showing up as our best selves. We are extremely fatigued. This is all because the extreme caloric expenditure that we are forcing our bodies into is having a extremely negative toll on our hormones. And that is why prep is not sustainable. Nobody will ever argue that being sage lean is good for your health.
Never. Never. But yeah, there's two sides to obviously like the things that you do, regardless of it being for your health. So obviously always like be cautious and always be on alert to what you're doing so it doesn't, go against whatever phase you're in. It's very obvious that if you're in a health phase, taper down, watch your blood work first every
Yes.
single time to know what your body's needing and saying, and then make your protocols upon that. It should not be the opposite. Your blood work should not follow what you're currently doing. You have to go with what your body's saying, and that's where cortisol and so on like come to play.
Listen to your
Right.
body, get your blood
Yeah,
work checked so you know exactly what is actually going on internally and you're not just judging based off your mood or how you wake up feeling one morning. But
true, true that.
overall, like, should you be doing cardio? Like, not trying to scare you all away from cardio at all, because, like, honestly, for general health, cardio is extremely beneficial. But if your goal specifically is fat loss, just in a lifestyle sense, not a bodybuilding sense, honestly, cardio, like, take it or leave it. Like, you don't need it if your nutrition is dialed in. You can make so much progress, like we already mentioned, just by dialing in your nutrition. However, I will always argue that, yeah, keeping some cardio in, even just like 20 minutes, like 3 to 4 sessions a week, is really, really great for your cardiovascular health. It's really, really great for maintaining your insulin sensitivity, which obviously is important for fat loss and muscle growth, extremely important for muscle growth. Also, it's good for your mental health. Like, we all love a good sweat sesh from time to time. It boosts those endorphins in the brain. So incorporating it into your daily routine schedule, making it a habit, so that it doesn't feel like a punishment, doesn't feel like something you have to do every single day, but just something you do because you genuinely enjoy it, can be definitely beneficial. There just is a fine line between having it in play for that sense and then overdoing it.
Exactly. Perfect.
But wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with some fun questions here. So starting off with, what is your favorite form of cardio and what is your most hated form of cardio?
My favorite form, elliptical. Hated, stairs. 100% hated stairs. Hate stairs.
Really,
Like,
really,
I like it's the best for my results, but I hate doing it.
I think my favorite is elliptical because it is the easiest to recover from. It's
Yes.
least stressful form on the body. I would say my most hated is probably the bike.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Any form of cardio, girlfriend, any
The
cardio.
bike is
Or
ghetto as hell, and the seat hurts.
yeah, it it burns your quads. It's so hard to get your heart rate up. You feel like you're either like spinning way too quickly, or the resistance feels like you're biking up Mount Everest. Like there's no
True.
good in between. So that's probably my most hated form.
My favorite one. Your favorite one is what again? Elliptical, right?
Elliptical.
And then controversial. Fasted cardio, worth it or not?
Not
Really?
not worth it in the sense that there is no direct benefit to doing your cardio fasted versus fed unless you are taking specific supplements to benefit
Mhm.
fat burning that only work in a fasted state. That is the only exception. But for the general population, there is no benefit over doing fasted cardio versus fed cardio. I always tell my clients, do whatever works best for your schedule. If you wake up in the morning and you have extra time before your day starts and you want to go bang out your cardio, by all means, I think it works great. However, from a fat loss standpoint, is there any difference between doing it fasted versus fed? Not really. I love doing it fasted because at the end of my lifts, the last thing I want to do is go hop on the elliptical or the Stairmaster. And it's nice just like leaving the gym and being like, thank God I did my cardio already this morning. And it's a
Exactly.
nice way to get your day started as well, to wake yourself up in the morning. But there's really no benefit unless you're taking those specific
So,
supplements,
yeah.
like I
If
said.
you're not taking the supplements, like whatever, you can do it at any point. But I say fasted is so worth it just because of just the recovery portion of it. I find it,
Yeah.
especially in prep, like deep in it. If you go through like you're fighting to keep your strength, like whatever, and you're pushing and you finish a heavy leg day and I have to be back on the stairs for like an hour, let's say, I would absolutely lose my mind. Unless I have to do like post-workout cardio as well. Fasted just feels like one, it's out of the way, and also just for my stress levels, because then I can just come back, shower, like whatever, and then start my day. So
Yes.
just for that, but yeah, benefit wise, either or, like regardless you're doing your cardio, it's gonna benefit you, but the fasted state versus fed, it could go literally both ways. But in off season, always post, fed just feels so much better in my off season.
Yeah, I agree. Prep, fasted, off season, post workout.
Mhm. Favorite one, most cardio you've ever done in a week. Add it up. You have to add it up because let me add it up.
Okay, so the most cardio, the highest my cardio has ever got in a day is 90 minutes, two 45-minute sessions, and that was probably for 4 days. So 90 minutes times four, six
Wait,
hours.
90 times 4?
I
How
think
many
that's 6 hours. Because 90 minutes is an hour and a half, so 2 days would be 3 hours. Yeah, so 4 days of that would be 6 hours.
hours? Yes, 6 hours exactly. Thank you. Mine was 2 hours, 7 days a week. How much does that come out to? 14? 14 hours a week. It only lasted 2 weeks though. It only lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah, Rutha definitely has had to push harder than I have. I've
It creates character, I would say. I'd say it creates
character
character.
building experience.
110%. I feel like everybody and once in their life should go through something like that just to kind of understand how life works. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay, one more to close this off here. Hot take. Is the Stairmaster actually worth the suffering?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely. I don't
Unfortunately.
even think it's really that much suffering, to be honest, especially in the off season. Like I
Oh,
don't.
Austin light work
I love the stairs. Yeah.
faster than elliptical
It does
hours.
go by faster. I like that, contrary to the elliptical, like it's a set pace. You don't have to worry about keeping your pace. On
Mhm.
the elliptical, like if you slow down a bit, then your heart rate goes down and you're like, fuck, like I need to get my heart rate back up.
Yeah.
But
This
the
part
stairs,
sometimes
yeah.
stresses.
I'm like, I feel like a grandma sometimes. Like,
Like this is a lot, so I have to like hold. I just do the holding on to the thing. I
yeah.
can't do this. Do you do this or do you?
Only if I need to get my heart rate up.
True. But once you get it like going, I hold back on.
Yeah.
This
Or
works.
I pick up my phone or
I don't
whatever.
want if anybody ever catches me like films me doing this, I would actually off myself. That's
Oh, same.
insane.
Same.
Anyways,
Same. But anyways, guys, I hope that this episode was helpful and gave you some insight into cardio, answered some of your questions. Remember that it is a tool. It is not supposed to be a punishment. It's not a magic fix. So use it strategically, not excessively. Let your nutrition do the heavy lifting,
yeah.
figuratively and literally.
Yeah. And then comment down below and let us know about you. How much cardio are you currently doing right now and what phase are you in? And if you're not in a phase and you're just going with life and the flow, regardless, what is your day to day? Do you have a regime where you're like on Thursdays I have to do this much cardio? Let us know. We would love to hear. DM us, comment, and yeah, give us a follow. And yeah, we hope you have a beautiful rest of your week.
Have an amazing day.